Should you be excited for the 2026 British theme park season? I would say that's an individual question up to you personally, but I'll be going through in this video whether I think I'm excited and what there is to be excited about, if anything. So firstly, I'd start off with Legoland after a very disappointing visit the other day for their Christmas event. This is what their website says. It's a dedicated page for why you should go to Legoland in 2026. It says the race is on and advertises Minifigure Speedway, which has now been open for 2 seasons. It will be its 3rd season this coming year. Step behind the wheel. Learn to get your first driving licence at Lego City Driving School, a ride which has been open since I was a child. Swing into your next adventure. Play mini golf, also been open for a few years now. Legoland short breaks as well. Apparently this is the year to go to Legoland because you can have a short break. There you go, there I was thinking you could stay there for a good decade now. This page also advertises their events which are going to be going on through the year. Brick Days from the 14th to the 23rd of February. That's their February half-term event. Lego Ninjago Celebration. Master the elements and join your favourite Lego Ninjago heroes for action-packed fun this Easter. 28th of March to 12th of April, that one. The Lego Festival, in bold, returning in 2026, supposedly from popular demand. Get ready for the Lego Festival where imagination will run wild, creativity knows no limits and is fun, and fun is always the top priority, backed by popular demand from 20th of July, 31st of August. Yeah, weird. Weird that should be the one thing they bold on this website. The fact that the LEGO Festival is returning in 2026. Then there's Brick or Treat, selected days in October. That's their Halloween event. The Legoland Christmas Bricktacular, which I went to this year, as I said at the start of the video. Check out my full review. If you would like to see what I thought of that. I'll link the video at the end of this video, I think, as the suggested video. Celebrate the joy of the season together at the Legoland Christmas Bricktacular. Enjoy Lego festive shows, characters, rides, and family fun as you create unforgettable memories. Wow, that is a tall order. Let's see if they delivered as fantastically as they did this season. To be honest, I don't even think Legoland needs a new ride for 2026. I do think they needed to work on that Christmas event at the very least. That's what I would like to see done in the 2026 season. Also, I've been complaining about this ever since it opened. Minifigure Speedway, the fences which surround the ride area for that ride look abysmal. I just think this looks cheap. This doesn't look good. I still think they need to do more with this hillside. I mean, this just looks like it's a construction site. Ugh. It still looks like it's just construction fences, which they never took down. I would like to see them go back to Minifigure Speedway and put in a bit more theming, make it look a bit more finished off as a proper race course, as opposed to it being orange and blue, as I said, fences with sort of tatty tarp on them. It's really gross there. I don't like that at all. Another thing I'd like to see Legoland do, which I forgot to mention while filming, is the Vikings River Splash. That needs to be demolished properly so that it's ready for something new in 2027 or beyond. I'd really like to see it get leveled so we don't have to see it and feel sad like, oh no, I'm missing out on a childhood classic. Because it was a childhood classic Lego, and you've put it out of operation and you've not replaced it. So demolish it this season, so next season or the season after we can have something built in its place. Thorpe Park doesn't even have a subdivision of their website dedicated for what's going on in 2026. At least they're not pretending they have stuff going on as opposed to Legoland. I mean, I guess Legoland have their events, but I wouldn't say that's why you should visit in 2026, like they were saying with going on Minifigure Speedway or the driving school. Why is it that 2026 in particular is the good year to visit? But Thorpe Park don't even have a page at the moment advertising any events. I presume it will just be Fright Nights again. I enjoyed my time there actually. Feel free to watch that review which I posted. I had a good time at that event. Thorpe Park is a strange place. The island like no other. I can't say it's my favourite UK theme park. If it was up to me, I would like to see them gut Darren Brown and do something more interesting with that space. What do you think of the Ghost Train, Archie?
You know, and everybody says it, you know, the actors are fine, they do what they can with what they're given. And with the utmost respect, it's not a lot that they're given, and what they are given.
Level it, start again. It's a huge space, just a more compelling dark ride for there would be nice. Yeah, if I could see anything done, that would probably be it. And also finally see the Colossus repaint be once and for all finished. For the record, I'm not saying I want them to suddenly open something in 2026. Like with the Legoland thing, I'm saying that's an easy thing they can do in 2026, like fixing the fences around Minifigure Speedway. The same with Thorpe Park. I feel like you don't need to put something new in there this season, but it'd be nice if they actually gut Darren Brown in 2026 so we could see something go in there for 2027 or 2028, in my humble opinion. Of course, it's not even called Darren Brown's Ghost Train anymore, it's just called Ghost Train, but I think that sort of illustrates my point. That's kind of a mute space for me now. I kind of don't venture in that general area. I've had one or two rides. I had another ride this season on the Ghost Train. It's not good. It's really not good. It's time to just get it gone and start again. Level it, start again, which is what I always say to my friends is what you should do with the whole of Thorpe Park. But in particular, get rid of Darren Brown this season so we can get excited as enthusiasts about what could be going in there instead. Sticking with the Southern Merlin parks, let's talk about Chessington World of Adventures. They've got the most going on in 2026 with the addition of a whole new themed land. After the demolition of Mexicana, we'll get onto that in a second. It's a Paw Patrol themed land, and I think it's going to be called Adventure Bay. From looking at the website, it says there's a brand new mission coming to Chessington World of Adventures in 2026, and it's going to be pup-tastic. Head to Adventure Bay to join the Paw Patrol pups to save the day in a new immersive land, the UK's first and only Paw Patrol themed land. And apparently it will have 4 pup-tacular rides. Brilliant. I don't know if Adventure Bay is the name of that, I don't know, area in the show. I can't say I've ever seen any Paw Patrol, so I do not know that. I presume it in the common imagination or the public imagination it's going to be continually known as Paw Patrol Land anyway, as opposed to Adventure Bay. But yeah, I think its actual name is going to be Adventure Bay. Although I'm pretty sure I've also seen it called Paw Patrol Land on actual Chessington marketing as well, so it's one of the two. It's either Adventure Bay or Paw Patrol Land. One of the 4 rides is a roller coaster, which is going to function as my first roller coaster. They even say that on the official marketing on the website. There's also a Jungle Bus re-theme from Wild Asia, which has been demolished and is going to be changed into Minecraft for 2027. And there'll be 2 other flat rides, smaller rides as well in the area. And presumably a place for kids to let off steam, with the fact that in the promotional material they've got a big slide around a HQ tower as well. I was there for the Christmas event at Chessington the other day, Winter's Tale. I saw some of the construction and it just feels so wrong seeing it next to Rattlesnake at the moment. I don't know how long Rattlesnake has left. I don't think you can change Rattlesnake into a Paw Patrol ride, as in that ride type, because it has a 1.4 meter height restriction. Might be possible if they buy new cars which have a lower height restriction, but logistically it doesn't make sense to have a 1.4 meter ride inside Paw Patrol's land. So I can't see Rattlesnake getting re-themed into the Paw Patrol land. But also it doesn't really make sense to get rid of Rattlesnake because there's a bit of capacity there and it's a ride for bigger kids, which they need less now that they have World of Jumanji, but in general is still good to have that ride in the park, so I can't see them demolishing it either, which means we're just going to have this awful mismatch of what remains of Mexicana on the left with Rattlesnake, and on the right this kind of very cartoonish bright blues and greys and whatever colours they use in Paw Patrol, compared to the more muted tones of what was Mexicana, or what was Rattlesnake in Mexicana. The actual Mexicana area had some more colourful bunting and colourful buildings, but obviously it fit the general aesthetic of this western town much better. I'd actually written a huge script, it's like 15,000 words, on what I would have done with Mexicana instead of building a Paw Patrol land, how I would have brought life back to it, because I do admit that it could have done with a bit more life. But after it had a touch-up a few seasons ago, it wasn't as desperate for it as it needed it once upon a time. I really admired the fact Chessington went around to every land and sort of tried its best to rejuvenate it. That's what happened when they did the rainforest and kind of gave that middle section of the park a bit more life. They did the same with Shipwreck Coast. And then also, as I said, they went to Mexicana and brought in some more props and colourful theming throughout the area. And really that was all kicked off with Tiger Rock when that opened in 2018, the retheme from Dragon's Falls, which now has been left in disrepair. If it had been up to me, I would have kept Mexicana. Maybe given it some TLC. Scorpion Express was at the end of its life. In the video I was going to explain how I would have actually changed. I would have scrapped the original Scorpion Express because the ride itself had come to the end of its life, but I would have instead put in two sort of dueling Mack mine trains, using the space where the Yoo-Hoo petting zoo used to be as well, for that bigger track layout you'd need for that. And I had this whole big story. As I said, I think I will eventually make that video one day of what I would have done with Mexicana. But I would have loved to have seen that as opposed to bring life to that area, as opposed to completely getting rid of it. Because as I said, it now just feels weird having Rattlesnake there, and Paw Patrol does not synergistically work as well with the remnants of Mexicana, this Rattlesnake ride next door. That being said, good that there'll be some more throughput for the area. That being said as well, though, I mean, Scorpion Express actually had quite a big throughput. It had 19 rows, 38 riders per train. This is obviously going to be a small, I presume, one-train roller coaster. I don't see why it would have two trains, considering it's my first roller coaster. The Jungle Bus will be there, but that's just recycled throughput from Wild Asia, and then two other rides, kiddie flat rides. So arguably, I don't know if the Mack Mine Train actually would have created more capacity, as in Scorpion Express as it was, for that whole area, than all these rides combined. Definitely if they'd gone with my idea of scrapping the original Scorpion and having a dueling Mack Mine Train instead, which I would have incorporated into a bigger, larger story for the whole area, that would have obviously created more throughput if you had two trains of 19 rows per train, 38 riders per train, going around at all times. But there you go, they didn't go for that. It's Paw Patrol instead. As I said, in reality, I think I would have liked to have seen for next season doing something with Tiger Rock's area, either repainting it completely, getting it back to how it was, or going for a completely different theme, especially now that they've got rid of all the tigers, and I know Chessington in general want to transition from being a zoo as well as a theme park. Also, if they were going to go ahead with this Paw Patrol idea, I sort of wish they'd demolished Rattlesnake to replace it with something. I think they made the right choice that if they didn't have the budget to put anything where Rattlesnake is, which could have gone in the Paw Patrol land as well, it makes sense to keep Rattlesnake from a throughput point of view and something for bigger kids to do. But if they had the money, I would have liked to have seen them demolish Rattlesnake as well and put in another Paw Patrol ride in that area so the area was even bigger, and get rid of Mexicana completely, because I think it's actually, just kind of going to be quite sad, I think, to see this big Paw Patrol land there, and then you've just got what is Mexicana, which is in reality just a ride, because there is nothing else in Mexicana but that ride. I think that's, kind of sad when you know what Mexicana used to be, so it might have been better to have just wiped it off the slate completely and start again. But as I said, in reality, I think Tiger Rock is what needed more love. They didn't necessarily know that at the start of the season, because they hadn't lost that tiger by that point and then given away the other one that were left, the two that were left. But I mean, you could have seen that the paint was peeling. Maybe you didn't foresee the tigers going, but you could have seen the area needed a lot of love. But who knows, maybe now that will just wait and be left SBNO. It'll be interesting to see if they do open that area next season or not. Or whether or not it will just remain there until Minecraft gets open, and then you could see it being a Minecraft expansion for 2028 or 9. And you could see that happening. Obviously there is an elephant in the room, which is Paulton's Park, which is also a southern park, but because that's also quite a big investment, let's hold off on that as we've just done a big investment in the form of Chessington. Let's instead move to the next Merlin park, which is Alton Towers in the Midlands. They are opening their Bluey themed roller coaster inside the CBBS land. Postman Pat the ride was removed for this, which was a tracked ride, and they've also shortened the little monorail type attraction they have around the area. What's it called? I don't know. The CBBS bugs. I apologise, hardcore CBB enthusiasts. Is it Get Set Go? Is that what it's called? I don't know. Anyway, it's just a small little family kids coaster, although from construction images which are now coming out, it actually looks slightly bigger than people were expecting, at least bigger than I was expecting. I was expecting it more to be like a Duplo Dino train style ride, but it actually looks like it's relatively big. This is fine. This is a good thing. Bluey is clearly a popular IP. Disney are incorporating it in their parks from this coming season. Next season they're going to start having meet and greets with Bluey characters. So clearly Disney see its potential as well. So this might have been a good move on Merlin's part to introduce this Bluey roller coaster. Even if it was sad losing what was one of my childhood characters in Postman Pat. But the area is not for me anymore, it's for the next generation, so let them have their Bluey. My brother and I went for our only trip of the season up to Alton Towers for the fireworks. There are 2 vlogs from that last weekend, those last 2 days, if you want to watch them on the channel. I think Alton Towers is actually in pretty good shape at the moment, to be honest with you. Despite what everyone says about recent terrible moves and bad upkeep, etc, etc. I think they were actually felt like a magical place to be for those 2 last days of the season. Would it have felt like that if I'd gone earlier in the season, especially when you have like 4 or 5 o'clock closes and it's such a big park and you're running around and, you know, in hour or 2 hour queues trying to get everything done? Maybe not, but because we had the 2 days there and they were both 9 PM shuts, it felt quite cool, yeah. And also I'd never had night rides at Towers, so that was pretty magical as well. And the operations in general were pretty good. I had no major complaints except something on Spinball Whiz where I was like, this is madness. But apart from that, I seem to remember everything running relatively smoothly. Oh, and the Runaway Mine Train. I don't know what was going on with the ops on there as well. But I was, as I said, impressed with my time at Towers actually, so I'm not bitter about the fact there's not something going in for the adults. They had Toxicated this year. Let them have their Bluey, as I said. Let the kids enjoy. Although I will admit, it would have been nice if Galactica had had a re-theme for this season along with Bluey as well. But you can't get everything. But that would have been nice to, yeah, finally bring Galactica into the Forbidden Valley story, as opposed to what it currently is, being its own sci-fi. Well, I guess it's all sci-fi, but this own space thing, as opposed to then being connected to the Nemesis creature monster storyline. Also, ideally at Towers, they would have made work on Project Horizon. Is that what it was called? By David Williams' area. It would have been nice if they'd put some foundations in the ground so that they could actually open up that, so that they'd still have the planning permission for that. Whether or not they will get that done before the planning permission deadline, I do not know. It looks unlikely, but at the very least it would have been nice if they'd built the building so that they'd had that completed. But yeah, I don't know how likely that's looking now either. I don't believe there's anything new to report at Drayton Manor, talking about the park sort of nearest Alton Towers from there. They've had a relatively big season. They added a new water show on their lake with fountains. Our very own version of Bold of Colour, I guess, at Disney's California Adventure. Probably not to that scale. I've not seen it yet, or whatever they can do with it. But I would like to go. Ideally, it'd be nice if I could get up for this Christmas at some point in the next weekend or 2. But it's already looking pretty busy for my build up to Christmas, so maybe not. But that would be nice if I could get there to see. And also they had Gold Rush the season before this one. Yeah, I feel like it makes sense that they're having a season off from any big investments or whatever. Let them just gather their thoughts before they do their next thing. But long term would be nice to see that pirate dark ride. What was it? Pirate Adventure? I never got to ride it. I'm a huge dark ride enthusiast. Would love it if they could get that refurbed and open. But I feel like that's what every enthusiast hopes for every season, so nothing new there. It's just par for the course. Now to the only park I've not been to on the list, which is Flamingo Land. They are going to be opening their Lost River ride, or reopening I should say, after they've done extensive work on it. Apparently it will have a new show scene at the top of its lift hill. I have actually always wanted to ride this, which is why I've not gone these last few seasons, and I've not made the pilgrimage up to Yorkshire to ride all their other attractions, because I've really wanted to ride this Lost River ride. So maybe this will be the year I finally go, with this finally reopening. Staying in the north, Blackpool Pleasure Beach are going to be opening a Intamin gyro swing, and it's one of the bigger models. I've not done one of the bigger models. A notable one out there is the one at Liseberg. I've still not been there. Would love to get there this coming season. There is an Intamin gyro swing already in the country at Drayton Manor. But as I said, this one's going to be a lot bigger than that one. I don't love a gyro swing. I can't say they're my favourite rides. The one at Paulton Park is not an Intamin, I don't believe, but I don't particularly enjoy that. That makes me very ill and just nervous being on those. I don't like it. There's something about those types of flats rides which just get my heart going. I go, this doesn't feel safe. They are safe. They are safe. But I just feel very like, oh, I don't love this. But regardless of my thoughts on it, Evictus will be opening this massive gyro swing, which will go up to 138 feet in the sky, which is big. At the risk of sounding like a party pooper, I sort of would have rather the money had gone into finally getting River Caves back open. I think that's kind of half the reason I never made it up there this season to Blackpool, because River Caves is still closed. They're sort of big dark ride, very historical ride for the park as well. As I've said previously, I love a dark ride. So yeah, would have rather the money had gone into that than a new flat ride, but the flat ride enthusiasts are happy. Everyone seems very happy they'll be getting this Evictus, and I will ride at least once to let you know what I think. But yeah, just for me personally, I prefer it when parks invest in maintaining what they already have and making sure everything they have looks fresh, looks good, is to a high quality, before then thinking, okay, let's now build something brand new. So yeah, in this situation, I would have rather of them maintained what they had in River Caves and brought that back to life before worrying about investing in something new, because then you have the situation of when something new comes around, you've got even more rides you're struggling to maintain, and if you haven't got the foundation work of making sure everything looks fresh and are sort of thematically incorporated, then it's harder to do that work for even more rides you have, as opposed to maintaining a smaller part well and then gradually building. Speaking of parks that have maintained themselves well and then gradually built, it's time to talk about my most exciting investment, Paulton's Park. So Paulton's Park are going to be opening Valgard, Realm of the Vikings, which is a Viking-themed area, as would be implied through its name. This is at the back end of the park where Cobra was. Cobra will be remaining, but in a new form, now called Raven, I think it's just Raven. So that's had a repaint. There's also going to be a new Wild Swing, which is a cool little flat ride from ABC. They've just opened one of those in Plopsaland, Japan as well, in their Viking area, funnily enough. And then the big one, Draken, which will be a Gerstlauser Eurofighter. There's also going to be a play area for the kids and this huge dining hall. It's big by the looks of this thing. This is a massive food and drinks menu. But yeah, the whole thing is incredibly exciting. Paulton's Park is a place I admire greatly. They take a lot of care in maintaining what they have and making sure everything looks pristine. As I was just saying, they've maintained the park well over the years, slowly built, and it's now led to more rapid building because the money's there. Really excited for this one. They have lost Magma, the park's drop tower, because of this development. Watching one of the construction updates they've been putting on their YouTube, which I highly recommend. They're really great insight into what they're doing over there, and it's really impressive to see what's going on at the moment. And also the host is endearing. I know they always take the mick with the way he presents in the bloopers, but he does make me chuckle. Anyway, in one of those construction updates, he said that they wanted to keep Magma, but for something to do with the actual infrastructure of the area, it just wasn't possible. I don't know if that's completely true. I presume they're telling the truth. I don't know why they wouldn't be. So like clearly this is a park who thinks, yes, we have maintaining rides, let's go around them, theme them in, make sure you know, our old rides are getting love at the same time as bringing in new rides, which I really appreciate. That being said, the Edge, which is their Zamperla disco coaster, is currently going to still be in that theme, or I should say in its lack of theme, and it's right next door to where Valgard's going to be going. That's a bit of a mismatch in theme. I presume there were reasons why. I guess they'll either come back to theme this in, or they'll demolish it and replace it with something else long term. I can't see Paulton's being very sort of strategic in the way they are handling these lands, leaving that the way it is forever. But also already, which is incredibly exciting, they've announced that there's going to be a ride next door which is heavily rumoured to be a water coaster. So the future is incredibly bright for Paulton's Park, is what I'm trying to say. And yet again, clearly a park which thinks ahead. In one of the most recent construction updates as well, the host was saying how they put out this patio seating area, dining area on their restaurant, which will face over their new for 2027 ride, which is rumoured to be this water coaster. So a park with their heads screwed on right. As I said, that's why I have no doubt they already know what they might do with Edge long term. Be it demolition of the ride, retheming it into Valgard, or I don't know, maybe giving it a whole new theme. Have a whole new land branching off from there. I'm sure they have already got all that in their head, thinking we will do something with it. Maybe they don't know exactly what, but yeah, a park I greatly admire with the way they're expanding. And yes, I will definitely be there to support Paulton's Park this coming season. I will be completely fair though, I have said for all the other parks what I wish they'd sort of done. I do sort of wish that Paulton's would go back to sort out the sort of main area by Tornado Springs, where they have like a carousel and some other sort of kids flat rides which don't really have a cohesive theme. That being said, it is well presented around there. It's not left to rot. All of Paulton's Park is well presented, but it would be nice to see them go back and theme up that land. But yet again, I think they've got it in hand. I could see them already having a vision to do that long term. So those are all the major things coming to the British theme parks in 2026. I hope you enjoyed this video of me going over what's coming and my own thoughts on what they should or shouldn't have done. Yeah, if you'd like to see me actually go to these things when they open and review them, then feel free to subscribe. That would mean a lot to me. And yeah, hope you enjoy the rest of your day.